Hey everyone, it's Jack with Real Deal Crew. Thanks for joining here today. Anthropic made a big announcement today. We're up to Claude Sonnet 4.5, and I thought I'd go through the announcement and see how this might impact us in the real estate world. They really are leaning more and more into the coding aspect of Sonnet and Claude for that matter. You're going to see that being brought up quite a bit in this announcement. It's the strongest model for building complex agents. It's the best model for using computers. It shows substantial gains in reasoning and math. Code is everywhere. It runs every application, spreadsheet, software tool being able to use those tools and reason through hard problems is how modern work gets done. Claude Sonnet 4.5 makes this possible. We're releasing it along with a set of major updates to our products in Claude Code. We've added checkpoints, one of our most requested features that save your progress and allows you to roll back instantly to previous state. That's actually quite a big announcement. If you've used any of the tools such as Cursor, Lovable, some of those tools that have that type of functionality today, having it directly in Claude is a pretty big upgrade. We've refreshed the terminal interface and shipped a native VS Code extension. VS Code is Visual Studio, Microsoft's. It's a free download, but you can add extensions to help you with some of your coding. So that makes a lot of sense to have that as a native plugin. We've added a new context editing feature and memory tool. The memory thing is becoming an increasingly important aspect of things because people are starting to expect these to remember context, not only within a thread, but across conversations. So having some additional memory, of course, I think we're going to see that as a consistent update and upgrade to the LLM. We've added new context editing features and memory tool for the Claude API and lets agents run even longer and handle even greater complexity. In the Claude apps, they're going to talk more and more about agents, and their Chrome extension, that's only available with Max subscribers right now, so you have to be paying like $100 or more per month for that. And up until now, the Chrome extension was limited to like just some select users, like you were on a waiting list. Where the strength of that is that Chrome extension actually can interact with the browser. So you have the Chrome extension, and then you could have it do some web tasks and act on your behalf. So that's kind of neat to see that it's kind of rolling out more broadly there, I guess. In Claude Apps, we brought a code execution and file creation, spreadsheets, slides, and documents directly into the conversation, and we've made the Claude Chrome extension available for Max users. The file creation coincides with Microsoft just announced that Claude is now going to also be coming to the Microsoft Office apps. We're also giving developers the building blocks we use ourselves to make Claude code. We're calling this Claude Agent SDK, the infrastructure that powers our frontier products and allows them to reach their full potential is now yours to build with. I'm not sure exactly what this is going to mean in the end, but we'll look at another page here that might provide additional details on that. This is the most aligned frontier model we've ever released, showing large improvements across several areas of alignment compared to previous Claude models. Claude Sonnet 4.5 is available everywhere today. If your developer simply use Claude, so we're calling this out in the Claude API. Prices remain the same as Claude Sonnet 4 at $3 to $15 per million tokens. I mean, the idea that they're doing some sort of like a consolidation, much like ChatGPT did with GPT-5, where it's going to automatically jump between reasoning, because we did have Sonnet and Opus. Opus was typically used for the coding piece of it, but they're using Sonnet 4.5 as kind of a consolidated effort here. Frontier Intelligence. Claude Sonnet 4.5 is the state-of-the-art of the SWE bench verified evaluation, which measures real-world software coding abilities. Practically speaking, we're observing it maintaining focus for more than 30 hours of complex multitask. Imagine giving an agent some instructions and having that Chrome extension and it basically operating on its own for upwards of 30 hours at a stretch. Yeah, that's completing some very complex tasks. The thing that they were having an issue with previously was that it was trying to do too many things at once. So we'll see here in a second if they've started to break those tasks down into more bite-sized pieces. Claude Sonnet 4.5 represents a significant leap forward on computer use. On Oswald, a benchmark that tests AI models on real-world computing tasks, Sonnet 4.5 now leads at 61.4%. Just 4 months ago, Sonnet 4 held the lead at 42.2%. That's a big jump. Our Claude for Chrome extension puts these upgraded capabilities to use. In the demo below, I'll put a link to this announcement. You can watch the demo below. It essentially shows you interacting with the web browser. So if you gave it a task, doing some sort of research, it will operate as you. And then it does have a table here doing a side-by-side comparison of how these things score. It seems like all of these agents are leaning into certain things as these LLMs progress. Each of them are kind of leaning into their own specialty. Claude, agentic coding, agentic terminal coding. You can see they're beating everybody right now regarding much of these first chunk, math, of course. GPT is more leaning into the more of the general use type things. That's where you're seeing the multilingual Q&A, visual reasoning, financial. Well, again, math, financial analysis, Claude is ahead. Gemini isn't scoring as well in all of these categories. However, I would make the argument that they are leading right now when it comes to the visual elements, whether it's photo manipulation, creating designs, that type of thing. Experts in finance, law, medicine, and STEM found Sonnet 4.5 shows dramatically better domain-specific knowledge and reasoning. It is pulled out in front here on all of these categories. You can think of these percentages as almost like a grade. So 72%, growing up, that was still a C, but we got to see how much strides these LLMs are making here. Because in some of these cases, we're seeing a 20-point swing in 6 months. That's huge. And STEM is the last one there. So, and I mentioned this before, if you're using any of the tools such as Cursor, like we have here on the screen, some of these other ones, they're all using Claude right now to help with your application development. What this is going to mean to us as real estate professionals is that these tools are becoming easier and easier to deploy, roll out, and provide you that virtual assistant. We've been talking about VAs for such a long time in our real estate world, and it's hard to beat somebody in another country for starting at $5 an hour. Until you have something like this, you can get max for $100 a month. It gets to be harder and harder to ignore these advancements. So what's new here, that SWA benchmark verified performance, that's that advanced state-of-the-art coding benchmark that we were talking about before. Anthropic is really leaning into the coding aspect of their software. Enhanced planning and system design, better architecture decisions and code organization, improved security engineering. One of the things that Anthropic is really calling out here is regarding safety, because ChatGPT has gotten quite a bit of slack regarding this with the release of GPT-5. Perhaps more importantly, the company claims Sonnet 4.5 is the safest AI system to date, with the model having undergone extensive safety training. That training translates to a chatbot. Anthropic says is substantially less prone to sycophancy, deception, power seeking, and the tendency to encourage delusional thinking. That's really a focus on that, and that's really a shot towards ChatGPT and the issues there. Some of these things over here and what's new in 4.5, again, is agent capabilities, extended automation operation. We've already talked about that. Context awareness. Claude now tracks its token usage throughout conversations, receiving updates after each tool call. Enhanced tool usage. The model more effectively uses parallel tools calls, firing off multiple speculative searches. Advanced context management. So one of the things that I saw as one of their examples was that it actually called out Claude Code. They showed a demo. It showed Claude responding to a prompt that says, "Imagine William Shakespeare's computer." The AI went to work deploying an interactive user interface for a computer Shakespeare would have used. It's effectively an on-demand app that opens inside Claude, letting the user interact with it. Claude doesn't write the code in advance. It waits for the users to interact with it. When the user clicks on the menu item, Claude generates that code on the fly, allowing the user to actually browse Shakespeare's computer in real time. Some of this stuff is just getting crazier and crazier. So what am I saying here is the fact that we're getting closer and closer to the point where we're going to be able to use these AI agents. Well, in many cases, I'm already using AI agents to do some of the work that you would typically have somebody overseas doing for a few dollars an hour. Now you can deploy some of this. They'll work 24/7. They don't get sick, and they follow those specific instructions. Where I've been definitely seeing the power of these is breaking these things down into manageable bite-sized pieces so that they don't go off the rails and they do their task really well. It's much like us. We focus on particular real estate avenues, whether it's buy and holds, BRRRR, fix and flips. You pick one strategy. You almost have to do that to a certain extent with these AI agents. You'll find that there's going to be a lot more success there. If I can help you with any of this, hey, hit me up. Head over to RealDealCrew.com, book a free, no obligation call with me. Happy to talk about this or what you got going on in your business and how we can implement a few things. We've got into this real estate deal to buy back our time. And in the end, all we've really accomplished is creating another JOB. This is the greatest move towards leveling the playing field that we've ever seen in our lifetime. You got to get on this. RealDealCrew.com. We'll see you next time.